Ah, I love the smell of doom, gloom, and destruction in the morning. Oh, there you are. Rehash, what do you want? Can't you see I'm busy enjoying my hobbies?
Well, what you do with your spare time is your business, but I wanted to know if you wanted Chinese tonight.
Wait, I thought Gent was cooking chicken Alfredo.
Well, he was, but then Decipher decided to help.
I was just trying to make the chicken spicier! Spicy doesn't mean fire! Oh.
Yeah.
Just get me dirty rice with some orange chicken.
And this is my adventures with Superman!
The episode begins on the Kent farm, where Clark is showing Lois and Jimmy his, space station. Because he doesn't want any more secrets, lies, or mistruths to be between them. Jimmy is all excited as hell because alien technology, and that's cool. But Lois is questioning why he's doing all this. Why is he going so far?
Bitch, the last time he kept a secret from you, you threw yourself off a building before he actually told you. He wants to go out with you, so he's being more cautious and being an open book. We also get to see something quite refreshing in a cartoon for superheroes. They stop beating around the bush, and he just straight up asks her out. She doesn't say yes, but it's very heavily implied.
Oh, look at that. A young couple with an actual healthy relationship and healthy communications. I wonder when that's gonna blow up in their faces.
Oh, Devin, have more confidence in the writers than that. After all, it's not as though they would have Lois be a full-on nutcase when it comes to telling the truth and being honest with her, only for her to have some kind of secret that she could keep from Clark.
Wow, even for you, that's a little on the nose.
I know, I think I'm a little off my game today. Well, we cut to some time later, as Clark prepares for his date the only way a character like him would be able to prepare. Overanalyzing every single detail down to the last letter to make everything perfect.
Okay, given the writing style and the direction the show seems to be taking with Lois and Clark's relationship and personalities, this joke does make sense. But me personally, I've seen this joke way too many times for it to be really that funny. Not to me anymore. Unless it was pushed to the next level extreme, which they could have done with Superman, but he was still a little bit more tame.
Okay, maybe the joke is a little overused, but it does balance out when we see Lois doing literally the exact same thing, stressing out over all the new Superman and weirdness nonsense, and wanting to have just a normal date with Clark.
Okay, maybe it's not a funny ha-ha joke, but it's a funny, that's kind of cute joke. It's humorous, not funny.
But what is funny is the fact that they run off in order to get a dress, only for a portal to open up right behind them, and 4 robotic individuals step out, saying they found their target.
Well, that takes care of the fire, and thankfully I'm too lazy to draw scorch marks.
Oh, come on, stop being mad. Anybody could have mistaken milk for gasoline.
Okay, did you roll a 1 or something on your intelligence today?
Yeah, why did you ask?
Oh, I bet Wacko doesn't have to put up with anything like this. Well, we cut back to Superman, and he seems to have everything all figured out. And then he gets a knock on the door.
Superman, I'm Mr. Mxyzptlk, an interdimensional peacekeeper, and I need your help.
Nope. Wow, that joke was actually pretty funny. Oh, I don't think I've had such a relatable joke in this series so far. So here we have Mr. Mxyzptlk, or however you pronounce his name.
One thing I could definitely say about him is I don't actively hate his design. If anything, I actually think the redesign is actually pretty good, even though he does look like he just walked off the set of She-Ra.
Though I do kind of miss the tiny old man wearing a bowl cap.
Well, Mr. Mxyz tells Clark that he needs his help in order to do a job in order to protect the entirety of the multiverse. And, well, Clark tries to deny that he is Superman, but he's dealing with a fifth-dimensional god. He straight up knows every version of Superman that exists, and Clark Kent is usually the epicenter of any and all Supermen. So whether he likes to admit it or not, he knows he's Superman.
And because he's so in the know on Superman, he also knows how to push his buttons. And the moment he says that his version of Lois Lane is in danger, Superman immediately suits up and decides to help out. This is where Mixel opens up a portal that sends them to another dimension of some kind, leaving behind Clark's phone. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how trustworthy should we be in Mr. Mixes?
Mr. Mixes is a legacy Superman villain. On top of that, he's also been known to be a trickster god. He trolls Superman on a regular basis. His word is worth less than the Denny's menu.
We later cut back to Lois and Jimmy, which automatically shows that he is lying.
So, Mr. Plix, surprisingly, the trickster god of Superman who trolls Superman on a regular basis, is lying to him. Who would have guessed that?
Well, a portal opens up and, revealing those robot people from before, they take off their masks to reveal that they're alternate reality versions of Lois Lane. Older, wilder, more mature, and they ask for her help.
Wait a minute. Didn't they already teleport there? So, did they teleport there, then teleport out of there just to re-teleport right at that specific spot in front of them? I'm sorry, I'm confused. Well, we cut back to Superman as Mr. Mixels is leading him on and tells him to go open the door. He does so and immediately gets attacked by a giant robot, which clearly he knew about, he just didn't care to inform him. We do another jump cut dance and we're right back with Lois and Jimmy as they are now on a giant spaceship run by the Loises. The Loises call themselves the League of Loises, and they're Loises from across the multiverse who band together and do stuff. I'm not entirely certain what their purpose is.
But whatever their purpose is currently, they need the current Lois's and current Jimmy Olsen's help. And by help, I mean just a single DNA sample. But when Jimmy decides he wants to look around the ship, they clearly show that they're hiding something. Well, this is an interesting development.
What is?
Well, the episode gives us right away a character that is clearly not trustworthy by any sense of the means with Mr. Plixels. But then they introduce another rogue element with this League of Loises that try to say that they're doing good, but are clearly being shady. So I don't think we're meant to trust either party here.
But the show is putting so much emphasis on Lois. Do you really think they would make any Lois be the bad guy?
And this is why I don't like dealing with multiverse. Anything and everything dealing with the multiverse is an asshole.
Well, we cut back to Superman and Mr. Mixels as we're going through a museum of sorts filled with all kinds of references to the DC universe. If I list them all, we would be all day, so let's point out some of the more obvious ones. A mother box, a Green Lantern ring, Dr. Fate's helmet, a mace, I'm assuming from the Hawk Girl or Hawkman, and so on and so forth. But Mr. Mixels doesn't seem to be interested in any of it. More rather, he seems to be looking for something very specific. And it's here our Clark finally starts putting pieces together, realizing that Mr. Mixels has probably lied to him. Which he all but confirms after taking a tape recorder. He tries to fly out, but Superman stops him. They have a bit of a stare down where it's a god versus a god, but then he kind of faints. Which, clearly this is an obvious trap, but Superman falls for it hook, line, and sinker, as Mr. Mixels opens up another portal. We later cut back to the League of Loises, where Jimmy is clearly on the distraction end. But his distraction leads to an unconventional friendship between him and another one of the League of Lois's members, which is just a female version of him. And they both run the exact same style of YouTube channel. So they end up doing a lot of talking about their weird conspiracy theories, much to the other Lois's annoyances. But this gives our Lois a chance to sneak into the rooms that they don't want them sneaking into, and seeing what documents she can uncover as to what they're hiding. That's when Lois discovers the other variations of her throughout the multiverse. Their successes, their triumphs, their status, and most importantly in all, a reason for her to think badly of herself, comparing herself to other variations of her and their accomplishments versus her. But this is when she stumbles across the secret, a redacted file when it comes to Superman.
She wants to know more, but as luck would have it, the League of Loises ended up finding what they were looking for when it came to Mr. Mixels.
Oh no, I know where this is going to lead. She's going to find out secrets about Superman, and she's going to hide them from Clark, repeating what we just got over.
Oh, come now, I have more faith in the writers than that. Certainly they won't repeat the exact same story that they just got over, and make Lois a hypocrite in the process.
So Superman and Mr. Mixels arrive on a dead planet, and coincidentally, Lois just happens to arrive at the exact same spot at the exact same time. But as the Loises are preparing for battle, our Lois tries to intervene, saying that she can help, but they refuse to let her help, as they appear to be going to war with Superman. Because Superman is an unknown variable in this, and with someone as powerful as him, they can't take chances. Even though they have his Lois, and she's vouching for it. Wow, these Loises are dumb. Well, Mr. Mixels comes up to the Loises and starts antagonizing them, but then Superman tries to intervene and get the answers out of him. And then they start firing on Superman, which Superman tries to defend Mixels because he's a good guy and he doesn't want to see people getting hurt. But then it starts affecting him radically. He drops to the ground and,
oh my lord, is that what I think it is? Even the most basic of basic fans knows what this is. That is kryptonite. Plain and simple. Though I don't think I've ever seen it doing that before.
It's been a while since we got some good old-fashioned bodily horror in a cartoon. Please, continue.
So after the Loises unprovokingly fired on Superman, they try to get at Mr. Mixels, but he's already disappeared, escaping into their own ship and leaving them all on this dead Earth. Superman tries to give chase, but he's just a few moments too late, leaving them all stuck.
And just for the record, this is entirely the League of Lois's fault. So go ahead and LOL at them, because that's what their initials stand for. Mr. Mixes gloats to himself about a job well done, unaware that there is still a Lois on board, with a gun, ready to fire. But even though everything in her being tells her to kill this motherfucker, she chooses not to. Mostly because her, I guess you could say, journalist intuition is in kicking high gear as she wants to discover the secrets of what's going on with the League of Loises and this redacted file on Superman. So she's willing to work with Mr. Mixels to get to their main headquarters, which he happily agrees to, calling this Lois the Fun Lois, as he uses an access card that he swiped in order to get to their main base.
I'm confused. Who's the good guys here? Is it Mr. Mixels, or is it the League of Loises?
Well, if I want to break the fourth wall here for a little bit, I think the message here is that anyone could be the good guy or the bad guy, depending on the situation. Mr. Mixels is a liar, but the League of Loises clearly show they cannot be trusted and are willing to shoot first and ask questions never. Also make very poor decisions. So we finally head into the LOL super secret headquarters,
which, admittedly, a lot of it seems to be one massive circle jerk of Lois Lane herself. Like, no offense, all the offense, you might be boosting Lois Lane's importance a little bit too much. She's not that good of a character. Well, the team-up between the two immediately dissolves as Mr. Mixels runs off to find whatever it is he's looking for, while Lois searches for what Superman Redacted X actually means. She discovers another file, as well as this weird orb that seems to have all the answers. But before she could actually use the orb, Mr. Mixels manages to find what he's looking for. The very thing that causes all of this, everything that's happened in this episode, the whole point was to find his hat. And upon putting it on, he immediately regains all of his divine godlike abilities.
And of course, because he's regained his godly abilities, all pretenses of being a rational, fun-loving trickster god are off in replace of being a super powerful god of destruction. And the first thing he wants to do is take revenge on all those that did him wrong. Speaking of which, he allows the teleportation of Superman and the LOLs into their base so he can finally finish them off once and for all.
Oh, that's adorable. It's baby's first Power Mad trip.
I remember my first Power Mad trip. I destroyed and wiped out the entirety of Atlantis from across multiple dimensions. Just because I could.
So we got a room full of LOLs and the interdimensional demigod. We got Superman. We got all the stakes as high as they could possibly be. What does the series focus on? Lois and Clark's relationship problems again. Okay, I'm starting to notice a common theme.
Okay, I get the fact that the show would rather focus on Lois and Clark's love relationship and drama relationship than it as actually focusing on Superman being a Superman. I get that. I feel that. You can be that if you want. But you also gotta write it realistically. Why are they talking about a non-issue when literal gods and military forces and kryptonite bullets are firing on all cylinders? There is a god right next to you spamming portal gun logic, and you're worried about a misunderstanding because your date got ruined? Look, I know dating a superhero is complicated, but time and place. So they kiss and make up for nothing because there was no actual conflict between them this time. And now they deal with Mr. Mixel-Pixelix with Jimmy. By the way, Jimmy's also here.
Well, as expected, dealing with an interdimensional, super powerful fifth-dimensional god is very difficult, and the LOLs get their asses kicked. So it's up to Superman, Lois, and Jimmy. And after analyzing the situation, Lois comes up with a plan and Superman just follows suit. Jimmy is relegated to background because he can't really do much. So Superman attacks Mixels, and they have a bit of a spat. Superman does his best, but this is clearly a Superman still in training wheel mode, so he can't really handle Mr. Mixels, and he can't trick him like a more conventional and experienced Superman would. Or so he thinks. Turns out the whole attacking him was just a distraction, so Lois could find the right portal and pull the hat off of him, thus limiting his powers back from a all-powerful god to a demigod. He still has his dimensional abilities, remember? Okay, show. I'm not going to judge. I'm just going to say, you still have time to save this. If you just make this whole thing just an elaborate trick that Mr. Mixels is playing on someone in Superman or Superman's life. Okay? You could still save it.
Mr. Mixel-Pixelix was shown to be super powerful even without the hat. So even with his hat gone, he should be able to at least get out of Jimmy Olsen's chokehold.
Yep, that was a smart observation and... Wait.
So, with Mr. Mix's quote-unquote defeated, they turn him over to the LOL lolcows, but they end up escaping because the female Jimmy Olsen covering for them and deleting their coordinates so they could never bother them again, of course. And they head back to their Earth. Jimmy Olsen taps out so that Lois and Superman can finally enjoy their date. Or at least what little is left of it since it's the middle of the night. Lois returns home, and she is all giddy from her date with Superman. I'm assuming it ended the happy way. And then she proceeds to get on the couch and relax a little. But she still has that ball. She plays with it a little and presses a button, which calls holographic images of other Supermen. But these aren't just any Supermen. These are the evil variants. These are the bad guys. We see Injustice Superman, Red Soviet Superman, and the Justice Lord Superman. Nice reference, by the way. And she just looks at the devastation and horror. And then we see Mr. Pixelix. Yay, it was an elaborate trick. Of course they couldn't contain him. They couldn't contain him the first time. So he's there saying that while this Lois may be the fun Lois, and not every Lois aspires to greatness,
Not every Jimmy Olsen aspires to be a man or a woman, and not every Superman aspires to be a good guy. So this places the seed of doubt in her head that maybe her Superman might turn out bad.
Which is, of course, completely hogwash, but seeing the face of the man that she was bonking just a few moments earlier, causing mass devastation, kinda takes her out of the mood.
And then the ball opens, revealing one single shard of kryptonite. Mr. Plixelix knows what this is, but refuses to tell, because he wants to observe things from the shadows, because now this Lois and Clark is his new modern family, and he wants to see where all this goes, leaving Lois pondering what the future holds. Oh, you rootin' tootin' beautiful bastards who made this show, you managed to stick the landing. This She-Ra Mr. Plixelis knockoff, of course, wouldn't be contained by the lol cows. Of course they couldn't contain him the first time, so why would they be able to contain him the second time? Yeah, of course he's going to break out, because we need him for future episodes. What those episodes hold, we don't know.
And of course, keeping with the tradition of no secrets, Lois must go to Clark immediately with this kryptonite and tell him everything that she has found out about his alternate versions. That way, there will be no secrets between them, and there's no possibility of him turning evil, because he will overthink it and try to be more good. Correct? Correct? That's where you're going, right? You're not making her a hypocrite, right?
Honestly, of all the pointless leagues in the DC universe, I don't see the importance of the League of Loises. Like, what? She's a reporter. She's a journalist. She's not an explorer. She's not a Wonder Girl. She's not Supergirl. She's not Wonder Woman. She's a news reporter. Human. No powers. Why does she need a whole super league? And if this was their debut of trying to start one, well, they did a really poor job, because I don't feel the need to actually root for them because they're a bunch of incompetent dumbasses. Yes, they're trying to use caution against an unknown Superman, but they should know that most Supermen are good guys. Why would they assume that this one's a bad one and start shooting him? That's just dumb. They're dumb. Honestly, I kind of like the new Mr. Mixels. Yes, he looks like he walked right out of She-Ra, but in the same breath, I don't expect that guy from the fifth dimension to look like a regular human being. Even if they got rid of his iconic design, I don't hate the new one. And he also had a very fun and very trickster personality. I hope we get to see more of him.
And I'll also say this, that this show is starting to follow the same path as She-Ra did. Meaning, it's worrying more and more about interpersonal relationship drama than it is actually worrying about being a superhero show. Which, at its core, is a superhero show. Also, it's starting to follow the path of having underdeveloped characters. And by what I mean by that, is that they're not giving Jimmy enough to do. Give Jimmy something to do. But they gotta give him something to do quickly, because the season finale is coming up fast. So until then, we're the Cartoon Gentlemen. I'm Gent.
I'm Rehash.
I'm Devin Ooze.
And I'm Decipher. And we'll see you all next time.